B2B, you're a business who sells products and services to another business. And B2C, the business sells products or services directly to the end consumer. A marketing strategy, a lot of what you read is just very generic. It doesn't say whether it's B2B orientated or whether it's B2C orientated. And the problem with that is there are quite a lot of differences between how the two work. Firstly, the decision maker. In a large organisation where there's numerous levels of management, executives and things like that, it could be very hard to work out, if you're in B2B sales and marketing, who the best person is to talk to. Multiple people in that organisation can be involved and can influence decision making. Unless we're talking about, say, a small business, SME, where there's only one person. The business owner is obviously the person we're going to talk to. On the flip side, typically with business to consumer, you're communicating directly with the decision maker. People are going to purchase it for themselves, or they might purchase it for their families. Next is the decision-making process. This can be quite slow in B2B, especially in larger organisations where there are a lot of people involved in decisions. Those decisions can be quite big, important decisions to the business. So think very rationally, very logically about their decision. So it can be quite long and spread out. That means marketers, salespeople in B2B need to keep in regular contact with these people when they're making a decision. On the flip side to that, with B2C, the decision can be made quite quickly. It can be triggered by advertising on TV. It could be triggered by a need. So say one of our shoes breaks or a piece of clothing gets a hole in it. We want to replace that piece of clothing. We recognise there's a problem. It's a very easy decision. I need to buy something to replace that. You might have something in mind already, or you might go to the shopping centre, see a special, advertising special, something like that, which will make the decision instantly, I'm going to buy this product or service. And decision making can be quite emotional as well. I want to go on holiday, so book a holiday. Oh, I feel like something tasty for dinner. It's not so much a logical thought out process. Generally it's triggered by an emotional need. The next difference is the motivation. So obviously for a business, generally the motivation is going to be to improve the business itself, make staff happier so the organisation runs better, or purchase a piece of inventory which makes people's jobs easier and more efficient and improves profitability of that business. Generally it's sort of bottom line. If that's improved, then it's successful, which is why the process can be quite long, because the motivation is to improve performance. With B2C, generally the motivation is to fulfill a desire, which I've just kind of mentioned about that emotional trigger. Something triggers the need or the want. It's generally a want to purchase, and it's the desire. I'm hungry, I need to fill my tummy, or I want to fill my tummy with something tasty. I need to go on holiday, which again is really, I want to go on holiday. It's that desire to make our lives better, whether it's through entertaining or having something nice in our tummies. The next major difference is with relationships. Generally in B2B, because sales process can be quite slow and long process drawn out with many decision makers and factors that need to be researched. Generally with sales, you want to focus on building and strengthening relationships in the B2B area, and there's a long process before the sale actually happens. With B2C, customers don't want that long drawn out process. They generally want instant gratification. They're going to make a decision quite quickly, purchase quite quickly, and they don't want all this interaction from a salesperson before they buy. Generally, when a need is triggered, you have a sort of an idea of what options are available anyway, so they don't have to go through that big long research phase. In B2C, marketers and organisations need to make the purchasing process as quick, easy and as efficient as it possible. Then they've had a good experience, they're more likely to consume in future. The marketing strategy for B2B, as I just mentioned, there's a big relationship focus. And also there's a big focus on educating prospects. Businesses, it's a big decision. They do a lot of research. They weigh competitors against each other to see what's the best option. So we want to educate those people as marketers in B2B. Tell them we've got the best offering. Customize that service directly to their needs. The focus in B2C is largely on branding, marketing, content marketing, advertising on TV, advertising on radio, newspapers, sponsorship at sport, all that kind of thing. B2C is generally just making people aware that your brand exists. So then it gets stored in the memory bank. So when that trigger happens, they think about our product or service. The differences in targeting between B2C and B2B. With B2B, targeting is generally about lead generation. We want to get as many potential leads as possible because there's not as many as B2C. B2C markets are bigger, so much more customers, especially you're offering online and your customer can be anywhere. Where generally B2B can be largely based in a certain area, or there's a small amount of potential customers. If we're selling computer software and upgrades to businesses, it's only going to be the amount of businesses available in our area, which is obviously much lower than potential consumers for a consumer product. Because of this, we want to focus on getting as many leads as possible. It's about putting information out there, educating people we exist, having conversations with people and building those relationships. It's about generating leads. And those leads hopefully become customers. If we have no leads, it's very hard to make business in B2B. In B2C, it's generally about increasing brand awareness with as many people as possible. Because there's so many customers out there, we don't need to focus on one customer so much. Though in saying that, 2020 B2C has come a lot more relationship focused over the last 10 years or so, especially with social media, because it's easy to stay in touch with individual consumers. But as a whole, there's plenty more customers available, so we want to make as many customers know about us as we can, those customers that are our target audience or that market segment that we're trying to focus on. We want all of them to know we exist. The next one is communication tools. In B2B, it's always been a very sales orientated marketing as opposed to B2C, where there's not so much a sales process. The sort of sales process happens after the sale. But in B2B, we're building relationships, talking to people, having conversations, finding out who might be interested, following up those leads. Now with social media and other digital tools like CRM systems, we can track where customers are in that buyer journey, and we can use email marketing or social media campaigns to stay in front of those people. So salespeople don't have to have so many conversations. They need to kind of work together to make that process work as well as it possibly can. With B2C, we don't have that sales team, or few industries there might be a few sales staff. Like in retail, you walk into a store, there's going to be sales staff. But say if you're thinking about purchasing something you've seen on TV, or you've researched on the internet, there's not that sales team following up with a phone call. It's just about using mass media, TV, radio, print, social media ads, generally on the big platforms. So Facebook works really well for B2C because there's over 2 billion people actively using it, so there's a lot of potential customers. So really, we don't have to focus on creating those individual relationships and more It's using mass media to put our brand out there in front of these people. The next one is the language. B2B, we need to use very professional language. The way we speak to clients, they're educated about what they want, so they want us to be educated about what we're giving them. If we're using too much informal language, slang, people use in everyday life, doesn't probably come across as very credible to business customers. So the more professional our language, the more industry language we use, the more credible it makes us look that we're going to do a good job. On the flip side to that, in B2C, we don't want to use industry lingo and terms that people perhaps won't understand. We want to use the same language as our customers. It's everyday people. We want to almost dumb down the language so it's very easy for anybody to understand exactly what we do. If we're using really technical terms that only industry people use, customers might not know what we offer and what value we can give them. We want to use as many emotional triggers as we can in B2C marketing. If we can put an ad on TV for a burger, like Burger King, I always think of Burger King, how they have it like a close-up on the burger and the sauce, and the voice is like, just makes it sound really tasty and good, something you want to eat, triggers that emotion. Oh, that burger looks so good, mouth salivating, you really want to have that burger. Finally is purchase value and complexity. Typically B2B purchases are a lot more complex because they involve a lot more decision makers. That value of that purchase is perhaps a lot higher. Getting 100 new computers for a business, or a fleet of 10 vehicles, or a sales system to use on 50 staff members, it's quite an expensive purchase, something we don't want to purchase again for a very long period of time. So that purchase is very important. On the flip side to that, B2C, you might just be purchasing some groceries and you want to try a new cereal. You don't like that cereal, you can buy a new one next week. So the decision itself isn't as complex, and typically the value is a lot lower.